Hello, and welcome back to A Better World. This is your host, Mitchell J. Rabin, and we're very glad that you're joining us again today. Today we're going to have another very interesting show. In fact, the next two shows are going to be quite fascinating. We're very pleased to have a wonderful gentleman on today, Connie Larsen, in from Sweden, who has had one of those miraculous lives that you could sit on his knee and listen to him just weave out the tales for hours and hours. And he's an excellent storyteller to boot. So he will be telling us stories about his life and his meetings with Maharishi Mahesh Yogi and his time spent with him, all leading to his quite miraculous meeting with Sathya Sai Baba, and how this has utterly, completely transformed his life on every single level you can imagine. The next show will be going into some of the work that his meeting with Sai Baba has brought him to do in Sweden, working with people that are, well, to put it mildly, the most challenging people found in Swedish society. Criminals of the hardest type, rapists, felons of all sorts, and how he is reaching their hearts and working with them to literally now transform their lives. So Connie, thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Well, it's great to have you.
Welcoming me.
Good. Was that all accurate?
Yes, that was
okay, good.
Very good. That was very good.
Good.
Yeah.
If you would, just pick up and just launch in, if you would, with, I heard you the other night, and I have some background as to your coming to Sai Baba and how you felt you, in a sense, got warmed up, as it were, in your own personal evolution through your experiences with Maharishi.
Yes, I was an actor in Sweden back in the 60s and also up to 1975 when I finally stopped acting.
Yes.
And I was, as we did in these 60s, you know, the 65, 66, when the Beatles and everyone were on their height.
Yes.
We came into that drug habit thing with hashish and LSD and all these things.
Yeah, sure.
But that didn't have any appeal to me, and but also it hurted me a lot as being an actor. I had to do something to get out of that business, you see. So at that particular time, Maharishi...
You were quite a well-known actor at that time as well.
Yes, I was young.
Yes.
And yes, I was doing movies, and I was doing staging and all kind of these things, TV and all these things. But at that time that Yogi came, his name is Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, and he's a quite famous guy though.
Oh, yes.
At that time. And
even then?
Sure. Yes, he was the Beatles Yogi. He was the Beatles Yogi, they called him. And I ended up on his program, and I saw that this is a man that I would like to be with, spend time with. So I arranged my life to be with him 1 year at a time. And
so you'd be acting 1 year and you'd be with him for 1 year.
Yes. And that suited me very well, and I spent very much time in meditating, and I also went to India. I became a teacher of meditation. I went up to Himalayas with him when Beatles and Stones and Mia Farrows and all these guys and girls were there. But
what was it like to be with him? What was the moment-to-moment experience?
To be with a master and to offer year after year like that is an intrigue. Do you say intriguing?
Intriguing.
Yeah. It's good and it's bad. You see bad spots and you see good spots. You see.
About yourself or him?
Both.
Okay.
Both, and about others also. What I saw, because he was bringing quite much of knowledge out. You see. So
sure.
What I was getting was in what do you say when infused of his being, you see. And his being was quite great. He had a very big knowledge.
Did you consider him enlightened, as an enlightened being, according to the classic
Yes,
definition?
I would consider him.
Yeah.
In his own tradition, I mean.
Yes, in his own
tradition. Yeah, he had boundaries within the movement, which is called the Shankaracharya tradition. He is bound to do certain things, and he is not ought to go across the
I see. Okay.
And I was just making myself available to become a teacher. And so I came back to Sweden after the course, and I was spending my time staging and initiating people into meditation. And then while I was not staging, I was with Maharishi in Switzerland or in Spain or in Italy or wherever he wanted.
Some life, huh? Yeah, right, sure.
So then I went to...
and you were his personal secretary, is that correct?
So when I was there, I was his personal secretary. That meant that I was his attendant. There were 3 secretaries. One morning boy, one full day boy, and one night boy. I was the night boy taking care of his correspondence, and I was his very intimate personal attendant. That meant that I was the one who was giving him the massage and attending his cleaning and all these things. So I was, according to the secretary, I was the closest. So I could see whatever was going on in that TM movement.
Sure.
And very much good things were going on there, but also some things made me curious. So finally I decided that it's not good for me to stay here. So around 1973 I decided that now I have done what I could do in this movement. I have get what I could get. So I decided to leave. And that was a very hard event. Did we say event? To leave, yeah.
Yes, to leave. Oh, yeah.
When you leave your master
Sure.
and teacher for who
For
are
so
given,
long.
yeah, then you are just lost. But I went back.
Your emotional connection.
Extremely.
He's probably on
Yes.
one level. You're really your best, closest friend.
Yes, a father-like figure.
And father, yeah.
So I left the movement, and I left him from Switzerland. We were living in Switzerland, and I went back to Sweden, and I was staging for a while, and finally I ended up in One Flew Over the Cuckoo Nest, and that was.
God is a comedian.
Yeah.
Let there be no mistake about it. Yes.
Yeah. So then I was there, and that was quite good, though. But I thought that theater would not be my ending. The acts in my life would not end with theater. So then I left to do. I bought a hotel, and I was a hotel resort for health.
Yes.
So we were doing these carrots and fasting and starving people. And then
Carrots.
yeah, and I went from there. I sold the hotel and I went to Sri Lanka, and
So that didn't have any much appeal to you. The
no.
Carrots and fasting.
I am a vegetarian since 35 years.
Oh, I see.
So, and I'm very careful about that.
Yes.
So then I went to Sri Lanka, and I bought a nice little, not little, 350 acres beach shore. It's a coconut plantation. I bought that
Plantation.
Yeah, plantation.
Yeah. Wow.
And I bought that, and I started to build houses and things, and I was selling them, and I was becoming quite rich and richer and richer and richer.
A real estate developer.
A real estate developer.
From theater to real estate development.
And suddenly,
Hotelier.
and suddenly I was stuck. You see, with if you have things to be done in these kind of countries, you have to have things signed, and signing in these countries means donations, and you all know what a donation means. That's a right-out bribery. And I had to go all the way up, you see, even up to the prime minister level. And I felt that was very inaccurate. I felt it was not
Inappropriate.
Inappropriate. You see. That was not good. So I felt into some kind of depression. I felt very badly about it.
Yes.
And finally, I didn't want to live longer. That was the case. You see, it came so serious. So I didn't want to have anything to do with these people who dragged me into untruth, because I joined the meditation movement out of truth, a wish to be truthful. So, and suddenly I was I left my master, and I was stuck there with that filthy business, even though it was running very well. So I decided that I don't want to live longer. So I just moved out, and I wrote a letter. I was living in Bentota Beach. That's 2 hours south of Colombo on the western shoulder. I just wrote my letter, and I said that no one has murdered me, no one has raped me, no one has robbed me, no one has done anything wrong to me. I had to do that, you see, otherwise they have caught someone. If they had found me dead, they would have caught someone.
They would have assumed that someone killed you.
Yes. They would have.
And someone else would have been killed.
Yeah, also. Yeah. So I wrote that letter, and I decided. I drowned when I was 6 years, by the way. So that gave me an impression what death was.
Yes.
And that was light. That was obvious. I had an extreme experience of just a cosmic light there, and that made my day, so to speak. That made my life. Yes. And that light was diminishing.
Yes.
Diminishing just right now in the way that I was living.
Sure. In fact, it's that, as I recall you saying, Connie, that brought you to recognize Maharishi. In the first place. It was a chance to, in a sense, further cultivate that experience of the light.
Anyone who had that pure light, I became a friend with. I made friends with these kind of people. And Maharishi had a big light. So I was a very close friend to him, though. But I decided that I didn't want to live more because I was that depressed. So, and one day there were 3 boys floating up. And then I remembered single-age boys who were taken out through the falls in the water, the stream.
The current.
The current in the water, I was taken.
And they had drowned from the current?
Yeah, they were drowned.
And you saw them floating?
No, they came up on the shore while I was walking. All three of them were coming up. So then I decided this is how I'm going to go. And then the next day after writing the letter, I went. And I went out in that water, and when I prayed to God, I mean, if you are there, save me. And I prayed to Jesus, Buddha, and all these fancy guys, Mother Mary and whosoever, but they didn't show up, you see.
Yes.
And so I decided this is how I'm going to go. I was not afraid. I was sad.
Yes.
I was not afraid. So I just went out in the water, and when I was on the edge of getting sucked out by the stream, then it came from one of the huts there. They have batik huts there.
Where they do batik?
Yeah. Where they sell batiks and do batiks. It came a man out from that hut with a huge, big afro hair like that, smiling, and he was naked from here to here, and he had an orange sarong from here downwards. And he came out on the shore, and he was just waving his hand like, come, come, come. And I was looking at him thinking that, that is a batik seller. And I wanted to do like this and go away, you see. And then when I was...
so you kept going into the water?
Yes. I was trying to force myself. Then something hard took me in the neck and twisted my head towards that man on the shore. And at that time, his eyes, and him 50 meters like that, his eyes were so clear, even it was so far, and his face was so smiling and just glowing out of some kind of light and force. So he just forced me to walk towards him, as I'm looking at him now, just coming close like this. And he took me into that little hut where there was just a batik, that palm leaf hut, you see. There was just palm leaves, and there were some sticks, coconut sticks, 3 square meters like that. And I thought it was batiks in there, but there were nothing in there.
Now you had been in the water, and were you starting to go under, or this happened
No,
before?
the water was here, and then we just sucked up. You see.
Yes.
I was feeling the sand, and that the sand was just going, so I was sinking.
Sucking down.
Yes.
But this hand that you felt, this
that
hard
came in the
hand,
neck.
And was it pulling you back to shore?
He was there.
Yeah.
I was here. The hand came like that and just pushed me up like that.
Pushed you to shore.
Yeah. Okay. And there it was.
Wow.
And he very gently took me into that little palm leaf hut, and there was nothing there unless a huge poster from the roof down to the bottom, to the floor or the sand. And that was a picture of a man with the same big afro hair, but he had an orange robe from here to here, and all the way down. And he was standing with a hand like this. And then the man on the picture, no, the man who pushed me into the hut, he was on that side.
Yes.
And I happened to come here, and here's the picture like that.
Of him, basically.
Of a man.
Also, though, with the afro.
Yeah.
And orange robe.
Yes. And the man, if you was to be that man, you pointed like that to the picture, or like that.
Yes.
And then that man said, Sai Baba, go to India. And I was looking at the man like this and looking at the picture, and it was the same man. And I couldn't figure it out, you see.
Yeah.
But he said, Sai Baba, go to India. I just trembled out from that hut and ran on the beach back to my beach cottage where I was living. And then I met that what do you say? Receptionist. Because we had a reception there. I met the receptionist and I asked him, who is Sai Baba? And then he said, oh, he's God. And I said, God? Yeah, he's God, he said. God? God? Yes, he's God, he said. And I said, but how could that be? And he said, I said, where is he? And then he said, no, he's probably in India, he said. And I said, yes, but how can I reach him? How can I catch hold of him, I mean? And then he said, just a minute, he said, and then he lifted the telephone like this, as if he could dial to God, you see. So he dialed
1-800-GOD.
And I was just looking at the man, what is he doing? And then he obviously phoned the Indian embassy or consulate. And they told him where this Mr. Sai Baba was.
Yes.
And they they said that a woman had just recently come back. She was living up in the jungle in Kandy. So, and then I talked to that woman, and he talked to that woman, and we decided how to do. So in 2 hours I was on my way, you see. I went by the cab there up to Colombo, got the bank, and there some small things happened. They asked me if I was going to Sai Baba, and I also didn't know how they ever could know. And when I came out of the immigration office, he also said Sai Baba. And how could these people know where I'm going? And anyhow, I came down there, and there was a lot of happenings on the bus station. In the bus, things happen when you go in India. And anyhow, I came down to Puttaparthi, and which were the village in India. It's about 170 kilometers from a town called Bangalore. I came there by the bus, and I was just looking like a freak. I mean, I had American eyeglasses like this.
Sunglasses.
Yes, sunglasses, you see. And I had a T-shirt ending here. That was very sexy in the 70s, you see. And I had these small jeans with fringe on, cut off like this. And I had a huge sombrero hat, a pink sombrero hat with red fringes like this.
And the Westerner.
Yeah. We were, I mean, kind of freaky hippies like that. Sure. Even if I never have been a hippie, though, but I must have looked like one. I came to that beautiful little holy village where all the males were dressed in white clothes and looking very, very neat.
In Puttaparthi?
Yes, and all the ladies had their saris, and it was very hot, by the way. It was 42 degrees. And I just came there, and I went into that what do you call it, that registration office, and that man looked a little surprised when he saw me, you see, because he was not used to that kind of appearance. It was
even for Westerners.
Yeah. There was just a few Westerners there, maybe 2,000 people were there at the time, 3,000.
Yeah.
And I got a key to my little flat, as I thought. I was used to live in very good hotels and things, like in Intercontinental and what do you call these?
The Hiltons.
Yeah, the Hiltons and these. So, and I also could pay my way off, so that I was used to have service.
Sure.
So then I came to that what you say, little flat.
Your little...
Yeah, tiny flat. Yeah, that was very tiny. And when I opened it with the key, there was a lock. You have to open it. And there it was, you see. I just looked into a little tiny room and got a shock. There was no whatsoever furniture. Just a cement floor. Do you say cement?
Cement.
Concrete floor. Just a floor with a broken broom. And I was shocked. I was so offended. So I was running down to the office and saying, "Oh, what is this? They have stolen my furniture in my room." And then the man said, no, Mr. Larsen, you have not come for the body. You have come for the soul. That was the message. And they said, don't bother. Just come with me, because Sai Baba is going to have darshan. I didn't know what darshan was. No one told me to change or undo.
Yes.
So he just took me up to that square outside the mandir, outside the temple where Baba walks by. So then I was just sitting there. I happened to come to the first row because he was on the staff. So he came just on the first row in the corner. I was just sitting there beside him. And then suddenly Baba appeared from his temple. And he came in the middle. There's a little portal there. And he came into that. And he was just looking at me like that. What is this? He was just looking like that. And then he went...
Not who is this? What is this?
Yeah, like that. And he just went straight onto me. And then he looked at me seriously and he said, "Oh, you have come at last," he said. And I said, "Oh, yes. And then he said, "Where do you come from?" And I obviously was very proud, saying that, "Oh, I'm coming from Sweden." And then he just patted his hair like this. He said, No. You come from Sri Lanka," he said. And then he just walked away. He walked to the ladies' side. So I was looking at the same man from Sri Lanka. I was looking at the same man, you see. Yes. And he was on that picture. The same man on the picture.
And were you recognizing this?
Yes, I was just...
it was all coming together.
Yeah. How could he be here? He was there. He was on a picture in that cottage. And suddenly he was here. Who has been running back and forwards? These thoughts were coming.
Exactly.
Anyhow, that man, I was only able to be there 4 days, you see. But at that particular time, he showed me so many things about me and about other people and what he could do, you see. He was that kind of figure that he could do anything. I mean, if he wanted to materialize something, he just did it.
Sure.
And it was just nothing for him. So I could see that this man, or whatever he was, the one in India said that he was God. I hadn't figured out so far. All the other people in the surroundings said that he was God. So I just had to find out. But he was doing things that no one else could do, you see. So
sure.
So that was what was going on. So then...
Did you meet with him personally within those first 4 days?
No, he didn't interview me at that time. I went back, you see, after 4 days, absolutely filled.
Back to Sri Lanka?
Yeah, filled with that love that he emanates. And I decided I have to go to that little hut and thank him for being so kind to tell me where he resided, so I could come there. But when I came to that hut at Bentota Beach, there was no batiks whatsoever in that hut. There was only very old brooming lady. These were when they broom lot, they become like that.
Yeah.
And I asked to see her son, and she said, no, there's no son here. And I said, yes, of course, there must be a son. I met him, he had the afro hair. And where's the picture? I asked her. Oh, she didn't know anything about the picture or anything about a son and an afro hairstyle like man. So I went to all these batik huts to make sure that I didn't miss anything.
Yes.
And there was nothing there, you see. There was nothing there. And then I figured out that he made it. When I was going, and I was going to die, I mean, he manifested himself. If he was that God that everyone
the receptionist said, yeah.
Then he did it, I mean. And in 1983, this was 5 years later, I was there on duty with my drug addicts, and that so happened that he called me into the interview room, and I was kind of depressed because they didn't behave properly, you see. And I asked him if he could intervene somehow and do. He said, no, do your duty. I take care of my duty. And I asked him, what is my duty? It's just to rest while you are here, he said. And I take care of the boys, he said. And anyhow, he asked me, I was sitting here just beside his chair, if this is his chair. I was sitting in the interview room here. And then he said, why do you cry? And I said, it's obvious I can't handle this thing. I feel very bad. He said, you don't need to cry. Don't you remember when I came to you when you were walking out in the water? Don't you remember when I came out from the hut? And then I said, what? And then he said, exactly the same thing again. Don't you remember when I came out from the hut, you were walking out in the water and I saved you? And I said, what? And at that particular time there was about 21 people in that little room of his. And it's a little interview room. And then he, at that time, said 3 times he declared for everyone in the room that he was the one who manifested himself where Jesus didn't, Buddha didn't, Muhammad didn't, no one ever was there, you see. So that was how I came to Sai Baba. And that was how he then publicly declared that he was the one who saved me when no other of these deities didn't show up. But he did show up. I asked for God, if you are here on earth, please come and save me. And that was what he also did. That's what he was doing. And I was so
the living God.
Yeah, the living God. Yeah, the living God.
And you were so what?
And from then on, I have become his devotees. And at that particular time, he then gave me, in 1980, in fact, earlier, he gave me my work. He told me how to change my life, and so I did. But that's another story.
Yes, okay. Maybe we'll pick up on that in the next interview, in the next few minutes, and we'll go forward with that.
That we could do. But
that is just so powerful, Connie, to hear. I mean, to watch your mind go and trying to piece together all of the pieces, and to have gone from one state with Maharishi, actually, to go back. It seems like another lifetime already, you know, and to have experienced what you did there and notice the good as well as some indiscrepancies.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. It's human life.
Yes.
And to march on to your own drummer, to bring you to where you were brought.
Yeah.
And then
I'm very grateful for that.
Get linked in this absolutely miraculous way for your life to be literally saved.
Yeah. That's what it was.
God bless. Yeah. I'm very glad you're here sharing with us today.
Thank you very much.
It's really great. All right, well, thanks so much for joining us. This is your host, Mitchell J. Rabin. We're very glad that you're joining us again today. We've been speaking with Connie Larsen from Sweden, one-time actor on stage and film, and after having a series of very powerful experiences with Maharishi, went on in his life to hook up after many years with Sai Baba, and he'll be continuing this incredible saga with us the next time as well. Thanks so much for joining us. Your host, Mitchell J. Rabin. Please call 212-420-0800. Share your thoughts and feelings with us. You know I love hearing from you, and I look forward to seeing you all next week.